Welcome once again to Retirement Designed Differently with financial advisor Billy Voyles. He's also the founder of Fundamental Wealth Designs. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Billy Voyles, what's on your mind this week?
Well, wealth transfer is on my mind. How do we get your money to the next generation? Because there's three places your money can go when you pass away. Uncle Sam, attorneys, or your family. So where would you want it to go?
Well, the family, right?
Yeah.
So today's program, the long play. How do we keep the assets that you've built within your family tree? And Billy could not be more on the head. There's only a few different places it's going to go.
Yeah.
It's going to go to our health care, possibly to attorneys, depending on the ups and downs of the markets. There have been estimates right now, different resources. You can look them up on the web because nothing is ever incorrect on the web. But there's close to 84, maybe $90 trillion that could be transferred in wealth from this wonderful baby boomer generation over the next 20 to 30 years. And the question is, where's it going to go? If we don't do planning, where does it typically go, Billy?
Yeah, you're going to end up either the next generation is going to end up paying more in taxes, or if you don't do proper estate planning, you're going to start writing checks to lawyers. We had a client recently who their brother passed away, and he did not have anything set up. And the first check to a lawyer was for $10,000 to initiate probate. Then the second check to the lawyer was another $10,000 to start to sort of finalize the estate and get him through the estate and create her as the administrator and all this sort of, all the stuff that needs to be done, right? So $20,000 later, they haven't even settled the estate yet.
Okay, and I know a lot of folks out there might be saying, look, estate planning, we start to think of attorneys, and there's going to be high cost to this, but it sounds almost like there's higher costs if you don't do the planning, because now you're having to chase after the money trail. So let's set this up fundamentally. We have baby boomers, of course, and they're moving into their retirement. It's the largest amount of a generation in retirement ever, not only in the United States, but also around the world. And of course, they've accumulated assets. But my question is, where is it going to go? The first thing I'm going to bring up is taxes. A lot of that generation has been told to save tax deferred for the last 4 decades.
Yeah.
As they start to take that money out, as they need it in their retirement years, where does a portion of it go to first?
Yeah, the one thing about tax deferral is before 2020, if you left an IRA to a beneficiary, you could have done what is called a stretch IRA. So let me dive into that a little bit and spend a little more time talking about the old stretch IRA. So many of you in the audience, if your parent passed away prior to 2020 and you had inherited an IRA from them, you are right now taking a minimum distribution off of that entire account value. Maybe it's 3 or 4 or 5%, depending on your age. But you're letting the entire balance, that 95% of that account, you're letting that grow tax deferred still. That was the old way to do it. So you could let an entire balance grow, and that could be 50 or 60 years worth of growth and remain tax deferred. Fantastic. 2020, Secure Act 2.0, or Secure Act, the first Secure Act.
Yeah.
They implemented a rule where you have to liquidate that IRA in a 10-year time frame now. So in the past, it could have been 50 or 60 years. Now you have to take full distribution and pay all of the tax within a 10-year time frame. And it has completely changed the way we have to plan for generational wealth transfer.
Right. And in doing that, again, I always like to go to your book, the To Roth or Not to Roth. We've talked about it in different programs. You do live events as well. You can go to the website, fundamentalwd.com. We update the live events page. We're so glad that you tune into the TV show, but if you'd like to talk to Billy in person, meet the entire team, ask questions at a live event, go to fundamentalwd.com, and you can find out when our next event is coming. You've got the book here, To Roth or Not to Roth. Does this help with estate planning? Does it help to convert to a Roth for leaving to the next generation?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, 10-year rule. When we think about the 10-year rule, it also applies to Roth IRAs, but it works a little differently within the Roth IRA. So the Roth IRA is one of the best things you can leave to the next generation because you're actually now going to give them that 10-year period. They can have tax-free growth for another 10 years after you pass them the asset, okay? So out there, you're sitting, probably drinking your coffee, watching the show, and you're wondering, you have these IRAs and you know you're probably not going to spend it all. If you're in that situation where you don't think you're going to spend all of your money in retirement, then there's only one other place it's going to go. You're going to leave it behind. So wouldn't you like to leave it behind in the most efficient way possible? And the Roth IRA that we should explain in this book, to Roth or not to Roth, allows you to actually pass that asset tax-free to your heirs, and then they can achieve 10 more years of tax-free growth. So how long do you have left to live? 20, 30, 40 more years? Plus 10 years, you could have 30 or 40 years of tax-free growth. And we're not even sort of projecting out where our tax is going to go and, playing Armageddon around where taxes are. It's just prudent planning to set up tax-free distributions in the future.
Right, right. So you can get a complimentary copy of the book. You saw the phone number there a few moments ago. We'll bring it back. When you call that number, we'll send you a complimentary copy of the book. But even better, make an appointment. Come on in. We'll talk to you about your estate planning concerns. I want to also talk about a concept kind of known as insuring your own wealth. I don't want to see our baby boomers spend a lot of their savings on healthcare costs. There are tools that we can use to help us leverage it, things that might have riders for things like long-term care that let us keep more of our own wealth and pass it on.
Yeah.
These things take a little bit of time to put into place. This isn't something we can wait for another 5 or 10 years if we've started retirement, can we?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of tools. So long-term care is a big concern. And if you've seen it and sort of felt it with a family member, you're all too aware of it. If you've been lucky enough not to experience it firsthand, it's a devastating thing that could happen to a family.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
The costs are one thing, but just the emotional toll that it takes is a whole nother level. But when you talk about financially, there are things you can do in order to protect your wealth. So long-term care planning is something we need to consider. And there are a couple different options. Your standalone long-term care insurance that we've talked about before is not that popular because people just don't want to pay out of pocket for something that they can't picture themselves using. And if you're sitting out there in the audience today, it's hard to picture yourself in a nursing home because no one wants to end up there. But the fact is, 70% of people are in need of long-term care. So exploring the options and at least vetting out the options is part of our holistic plan that we sort of provide to people. And that's what we do, is we really look at the entire picture. Your entire retirement picture needs to consider income tax planning. It needs to consider income planning, tax planning, investment planning, estate planning, and healthcare planning. Those 5 areas all need to be sort of worked with, and then they all work together too. They all touch each other in different ways.
Yeah.
And that's what we do when we sit down with people. So if you're out there and you don't feel like your advisor is currently touching all 5 areas for you and making sure you're taken care of with income, taxes, investments, estates, and healthcare, then pick up the phone and give us a call. We'll have a sit down with you. The number is 888-379-1846. Again, we have a team standing by to help you get a 15-minute call on the calendar or come in for an hour and sit down and get to know us. But again, the number 888-379-1846. Come on in, sit down, we'll have a conversation and see where it goes.
We're going to go through some of the basics that you really need to cover right now while you're alive for your estate planning. Even for you, if you're thinking it's 10, 15, 20, 25 years away, the basics. What do you need to check off this box right now to make sure you have your retirement covered? When we get back after this, more Retirement Designed Differently with Billy Voyles, founder of Fundamental Wealth Designs, right after this.
Changing from now being an entrepreneur and running our own business and working with clients, it's challenging, but that's what makes it fun, right? If you woke up and did the same exact thing every day, made a widget, and then the next day you make another widget, and the next day you make another widget, this really, every day is a new day. And every client, all their plans are going to be different. They're going to be designed specifically for them, because you can't create a cookie cutter plan today that's going to fit everybody. That's not how it works. In order for it to be the best, it has to be tailored specifically to them. Meeting with people is fantastic. We love doing events. We do events all over the Twin Cities. I love speaking in front of people and educating, providing people education for their retirements. I enjoy putting the plans together and knowing that it'll set them on the right path that they need to be on for retirement.
Welcome back to Retirement Designed Differently with Billy Voyles, financial advisor and the founder of Fundamental Wealth Designs. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Today we're talking about how we can keep more of our assets within our own family tree, not losing it to Uncle Sam, not losing it to healthcare, not losing it to the markets. You know, what is a holistic plan and how we put it together? Billy, right before the break, I said you're going to give us some of the things we must check off our estate planning review for ourselves personally. Let's get started.
Yeah, and we have a list to kind of run through today. So this is a great time to grab your pen and paper or pull up your iPhone in the notes section. Funny story. So my wife, she has a notes section on her iPhone, right? She has one notes section on her iPhone. One tab open that she's continually updated for the last 7 years. And if she scrolls, it would take her 3 years to scroll through all her notes. So
she doesn't create
for those out there, you can
notes?
create a new tab for this. So maybe a new tab for estate planning for you. But anyway, all right, let's start. Review and update your beneficiaries. This may be obvious to some, but we do not want your 401k or your IRA to be left with door number one, which may be your first husband or wife that you're no longer married to.
And this happened. We're not kidding about this. This happens frequently across the United States. People not updating their beneficiary designation. This went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And I can't remember the landmark case, but it was within the last 15 years. Went up to the Supreme Court and they said, all right, whatever name is on the 401k, no matter what you have in a will, that money will go to whatever name is on there. And if it's your first spouse, it's going to them.
Yeah, so for any of your qualified accounts, your IRAs in Minnesota and Wisconsin, we have state pension plans, your Minnesota deferred comp plan, whatever it might be, your qualified plans, IRAs, Roth IRAs that we just talked about, whoever the name beneficiary on that, it trumps the will because it's a qualified plan. So you need to make sure that's in order, that you have the right ones named. Next is communicate your wishes clearly. And what I mean by that is a healthcare directive, and make sure you have your powers of attorneys in place for people to make decisions on your behalf if you become mentally capacitated. So this one actually comes from, deep within my family, just sort of, my mom was a nurse and worked in palliative care for a long time, so she sort of beat me over the head with this, that, quality of life is so much more important than quantity of life. We all want to live a quality of life. So when it comes to that point in time where you're faced with those difficult health decisions, you want to provide members of your family direction in your wishes. Because otherwise it's very unfair to leave people with those very difficult sort of end-of-life decisions. And again, this isn't talking about finance here. This is just talking about setting things up to do the right thing, near the end of life for you. And it's important to take care of that.
Because when we're talking about communicating your wishes clearly, you're not saying, I'm leaving you this amount, I'm leaving you that. You were just talking about, hey, let's take care of some of those care decisions, especially if you're no longer able to make those decisions. You can talk to the kids about, hey, look, we've got the lake house. I know that one of you doesn't like going there at all, and two of you love, do you want us to leave this together in a trust? Do we want? Yeah. We've got to figure these things out, because otherwise the kids, the family, they could be arguing about it later.
Yeah. And you mentioned lake house, which of course is a huge thing in the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin. We all love our cabins. We actually have a cabin in the Spooner, Wisconsin area. And it comes up a lot in appointments, these second homes. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do with them? How do we want to establish them? Do we want to leave them in a family trust? Who's going to sort of pay for it and support it? Do we want to set money aside to do this? Or does it just get lost and then put up for sale? And what happens, right? But again, thinking about a plan and coming up with a plan, that's all a part of this more comprehensive estate plan. So there are estate planning attorneys that we partner with will help you set up a will, healthcare directives, powers of attorneys, a trust if need be. Not always necessary, but maybe it's necessary for you. But that's the next thing on the list. Fourth then becomes, so we have review and update your beneficiaries, communicate your wishes clearly with healthcare directives, get yourself a more comprehensive estate plan set up, and then maximize your tax efficiency. And that's when we sort of go back to one of those bullets. We're moving towards estate planning and back towards income planning, tax planning, also a part of investment planning, right? But you want to pay the minimum amount of tax over your lifetime, but also set up the next generation. I got a little story for you. So your kids' tax brackets are going to impact your tax planning.
Really?
Think about that, Spike.
So let's say it was me. So the current amount that I would pay on taxes to leave to heirs, it affects what their bracket is?
So just think about that. So what tax bracket are you in? and then what tax bracket are your children in? And if you have a large IRA and we can distribute all of that within a 15 to 17% tax bracket, meanwhile all of your kids, you've taken care of them well and they're doing better than you are. I hear it all the time. Well, we don't want to leave the IRA then where you could pay 15% tax on it to them and they'll pay 35% tax. That doesn't make any sense. So when we talk about generational wealth planning, we don't want to look at just a bubble of you in your particular situation. We want to look ahead at your parents' situation and figure out, are you inheriting anything from them? If so, what does it look like? Now that one's difficult because some of them don't like to talk about money.
Yeah.
But we know you can set up the next generation. We know you're sort of aware of where your kids are doing and how your kids are doing, and we want to set up the next generation as best as possible. So those are all the things that we, being holistic and taking a look at the big picture, talk about. We're not just money managers. We're advisors of wealth for you and your entire family.
And the generational wealth, clearly the focus of our program today, but I also want to ask, when it comes to estate planning, is it important for couples to do as well? Or when it comes to married spouses, do we just have to leave it alone? I mean, they're going to get the house, they're going to get the investments. Is it easy? Or do we also want to make sure we're doing estate planning when we're married?
Oh, absolutely. I think estate planning when you're married is necessary. Me and my wife recently just updated all of our stuff. We had our 4th child and
That's
sort of
right.
needed to add Cody into the mix as far as the trust and everything that goes. And it does need to sort of be handled because, again, you don't want to leave a mess to be dealt with because death is difficult in itself.
Mm-hmm.
You have grief and other things, and it's hard to make decisions, and there's a lot of reasons in order to have this all handled in advance. So it's one of those things, though, that here's what my friend in Kansas City, he made a bunch of wooden tokens with the word "to it" on it. Because everyone that he talked to about this be like, we just haven't got around to it yet. So he would reach under his desk and he'd pull it out and he'd slide it across the table and be like, here's your round to it. No more excuses. Let's just get the job done.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that I found was pretty funny about it. A way to sort of make light of it, but you know it out there. You know it's something that you have to do. So why not take the steps to just get it taken care of? And one of the big areas that we want to talk about is tax planning. You have to start today for tax planning. We know taxes are going to go up in 2 years. We're going to offer you this copy of our book, To Roth or Not to Roth. On the screen right now, you see a QR code. It goes right to our website where you can fill out a form to request a copy of the book complimentary for you. So go ahead, get your iPhones out, get that phone, get the camera up, point it at that QR code, and it'll click up a little link for you. Click on that link and it'll take you right to our website. On our website, you can fill out a quick form where you can request, and Lynn from our office is actually going to give you a call, grab your address, and she'll send you a complimentary copy of the book. And then if you'd like, you can come on in and dive deeper on your particular situation of your taxes, your investments, and of course, make sure we transfer that wealth to the next generation.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Folks, use that QR code. Open up your smartphone, point it right here at that QR code, and it'll take you right over to the website. And when Billy says we're going to send you a complimentary copy of the book, no credit card, no nothing, not even the shipping and handling. All we need to know is where you want us to send it for you. But even better, call the phone number down at the bottom of the screen. Come on in with your family. If this is overwhelming to you, if you're not sure if you need to get started, or do you need to have a certain dollar amount to start your estate planning, the answer is no. We want to make sure that your assets stay as best as they can within your family tree. Call the phone number. More with Billy Voyles right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there or be square. Happy birthday to you.
As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Retirement Designed Differently with Billy Voyles, founder of Fundamental Wealth Designs. I'm your host, Spike Spangle, and this is one of our favorite segments here. You might need a financial advisor if. What is it this week, Billy?
You might need a financial advisor if you love your family, or maybe you don't. So we're joking.
that's
It's
both
family.
sides.
Everybody's stuck with family. It is one way or the other. It's a sort of, but the whole concept is, if you want to determine where your wealth is to go, and also another question, if you want to determine how your wealth is used after you pass away, then you certainly need to take the steps. But there are a lot of reasons to just make it easier on the next generation. And that's the reason to sort of really get into this estate planning discussion and estate planning conversation.
When people come into your office for the first time, just make up a percentage, about what seems to be true, but how many people do or don't have even a simple will when they come to you the first time?
I'd say about a third have have something.
Something.
Right, whether it's a simple will or, goes to the level of a trust or, but they also need to be revisited because depending on how old it is, it might need to be revisited, might need to be revised, to your new wishes because things change, people pass away that are sort of included in the will, which changes things up. So we just want to make sure that they have the latest up to date, and our attorneys help them work with it to sort of revisit it and update it as necessary.
Do you make a decision as a financial advisor doing this holistically? You say, okay, at $3 million, you definitely need to have a trust, or at $2 million. Is this determined by a number, or is this determined if somebody owns a business and lots of real estate, or is it determined on if they have 4 kids? How do you determine if somebody needs a trust or who just needs a will?
Well, our attorneys will help really determine the absolute final needs. We just sort of provide some education on what it means and what it could do and the different, they just have general questions. And then our attorneys and our estate planning partners will help to set everything up for them. There is not an asset value. It's really more about how do you want to leave, your situation for the next generation. If you do nothing, imagine a ball of spaghetti. And you can picture it, right? Just a plate of spaghetti and meatballs, right? And try to unwind, that ball of spaghetti unwind the noodles without breaking them. But that's what you're dealing with if you have nothing in place because they don't know where your accounts are at. They don't know what's in your bank account. They have to come out of pocket and pay for funeral expenses and then get reimbursed from the estate later. You have to go through months, even years of probate planning. You have to go tens of thousands of dollars in paying attorneys in order to alleviate the probate situation. Probate is costly, it's time consuming, and it takes away from you being able to live your life. So you just don't want to leave this ball of spaghetti for the next generation to try to unwind and figure out what's going on. So it's really necessary for everyone to sort of take the simple step of at least creating wills, healthcare directives, power of attorneys, and then trusts do get into a sort of conversation of, is that right for you? The more assets you have, if you have multiple homes, if you have a blended family, and you really want to control distribution, then trusts become more popular for those folks.
Okay, all right. So you determine more on the tools on the complexity of the family situation. Not necessarily a dollar amount, but it could be a home, a business, how many heirs that you do have, and how much do you want to keep those assets then within that family and so forth. And so talk to me just a little bit more then about that attorney process. So you yourself, I know, are an attorney, but you do work with folks. So do you helm it, or do you go to them and say, hey, what do we need here? Describe the process to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Our estate planning partners are fantastic to work with. We set up an initial consultation with them. They do a quick phone call with you. They set up a second appointment where they just review sort of the ideas and recommendations. And then they set up a third meeting, which is a signing meeting with notaries and witnesses to get your documents all signed. It's really a relative, again, why are we putting this off? It's sort of this, we don't know what it looks like. We really don't know what we're getting into. Cost might be on your mind as far as being prohibitive, but it's really just the fear of taking that first step to get everything in order. And, you know, it's one of those things where once you take care of this, it again is just sort of one of those things that puts yourself at ease, that you've taken care of one of the big pictures you need to in retirement. So we encourage to just take that first step and, you know, get that introduction to them, make that first phone call, and then, you know, just walk through the process. It's really not that intimidating once you take the first step.
You've said, of course, with estate planning, we want to make sure that you're taken care of first, that you can enjoy the lifestyle that you've always wanted to. But we were also talking about something where you said sometimes we don't want to necessarily just wait until the end of life to leave things for maybe our adult children. If you are comfortable and you know that you're never going to outlive the money, maybe we start gifting some of it even a little bit earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see the kids enjoy it while they're alive. And when I say kids, I mean probably 40, 50, 60 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm walking through a situation right now with a pair of clients that they are getting up into their 80s and they have more money than they're ever going to need. So we're walking through what is the proper way to sort of set up the next generation. And also, here's another thing to think about out there. If you pass away and leave it, you don't get to see them enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if you're able to start gifting and start giving them, whether it's vacations or whether it's funding college or whether it's buying them their first car or whatever it might be, while you're alive, you get to see them enjoy the gifts that you're sort of passing along. So we've been doing a lot of that, whether it's charitable gifting that you can set up or set up gifts to your family. So we've talked about a lot of estate planning today, and really what it comes down to is, again, there's 3 places money can go: Uncle Sam, the attorneys, or your family. If you want your money to go to your family, give us a call, 888-379-1846. And we will create a plan that not only, again, covers income, covers tax, but we set up the estate plan. We set up your investments and your tax plan to be the most efficient wealth transfer, so we can make sure that your money gets to the next generation and is used upon your wishes. So we'd love to talk with you soon. We got a team standing by to take your call. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Billy. If you are wanting to do your estate planning, it's as simple as calling the phone number down on the bottom of the screen. You can also go to the website, fundamentalwd.com. Thank you so much for watching. For Billy Voyles, I'm Spike Spangle. We'll be back again next week.